All right. Well, thank you for joining us here on Bare Naked Moms. I am Milano Buckley.
And I'm Alana Level. Welcome to season 3 of our show.
I'm excited. It's exciting.
I'm excited to be back.
It's kind of like, like kids, right? Like, you have to have the first one. You can't just have one, right? You got to have two. But the third is like a real choice.
That's such a good analogy for us.
Like we've really chosen as opposed to the first 2 seasons of podcasting.
Yeah. So we have some logistical updates for you. Mm-hmm. We moved some furniture around here in Milano's attic so we can see each other a little bit easier. Milano got all arts and craftsy and created this backdrop for us. We're hoping we're a little more comfortable during our interviews. You can see us a little better. And
we can see each other.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
And you're going to be seeing us in a whole new way because we're going to post whole episodes to YouTube, which we are intrigued by.
Yes. This, just YouTube in general, it's not something that we're all that familiar with, really.
No. I myself don't listen to podcasts or watch them on YouTube. But hey, if you do, good on ya.
Good on ya. And thanks for watching us. And it's even more, I feel like Bare and Naked, you're seeing the whole 360,
Yeah. And we're told this is what you have to do to get ahead in the podcast world. Right. So here we are.
So
and
ambitious.
We have a really good first episode of the 3rd season for you. You want to tell them about it?
I really do. Okay. So speaking of 360 conversations and all that, today is a really rich conversation. It is with Mitch Henderson, who is the head coach of Princeton men's basketball. I thought this conversation was so fascinating because Mitch is not only this super successful coach. He's for almost 2 decades, decade and a half. He's been a very decorated coach of Princeton. He has multiple Ivy League championships. He was the assistant coach at Northwestern and all that. But before that, he was also this sort of savant athlete in his own right. Okay. So he played at Princeton himself and acquired all the trophies and the rings there. He was captain, played, I think, all 4 years started. But even before that, before he even got to Princeton, got to college, he was recruited by the Yankees to play not basketball, but baseball.
Yeah, that's interesting about these mega athletes. So often they're good at more than one sport, and the one that they become famous in, they chose it, but they could have done a whole other thing as well.
Exactly. And so whenever I meet someone like this, who's picked a lane and has found such success and happiness in that lane, and authority. He's a big deal. I'm what are you doing with your kids? Right? In terms of sports, in terms of parenting, what's your angle?
So we get into his stance on sports with his own 3 school-age kids, and also how parenting has shaped his approach to coaching young athletes, the parallels between leading a team of young men and raising kids.
I love that. Yeah.
Strategies for meeting people where they are, both players and children. Navigating the pressures of Division I coaching in the age of social media, and how meditation has made him a better coach and dad. Surprising our Mitch.
That's my favorite. That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I also loved hearing, in general, with most of these shows that we do, but just this one in particular, how, these big personas, Mitch is a big persona on campus and in the stadium. And who is this big persona at home, right? On the home court? Who's running offense, who's blowing whistles.
Which is the heart of our whole podcast.
Which is you think of these people in certain ways, and then you want to sort of lift the curtain and peek behind, right? Okay, sorry. I just gave you a lot of bad basketball puns, but forgive me for that. And let's get to our talk with Mitch Henderson. We didn't know how much we loved this show until it was over, and we hope you do too. All right. Should we dive right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Godspeed.
Okay. Mitch, we would think the jobs of coach and dad are similar in some ways, that your skills as a coach make you a better dad, and perhaps vice versa, that your skills as a dad make you a better coach. Do you find that to be true?
Very much. I have often said to coaching friends before I had kids that had kids, and I said, I think being a coach is going to make me a better parent. And then you become a parent and you realize, I mean, right now it's probably tipping the scales for me the other way. I think being a parent makes me a far better coach because it's a relationship driven business and world. You're trying to meet people where they are all the time. And this is just, as I get older, this is not becoming harder, but it's just, I think you just have to keep peeling layers of yourself. So it keeps me really young. My 12-year-old son doesn't want anything to do with me or listen to anything I have to do or say about basketball. And I get it. But the guys on the team, my guys, 18 to 22 years old, they're still forming and maturing and developing in their own ways. So yeah, very much. I think I'm always borrowing from one to help the other. And just like a parent, you can't avoid the hard conversations in coaching. So you have to have those all the time and have the patience to sit there even when the answers aren't coming out the right way. So yes, I would definitely agree. And
that's interesting. I can pretty clearly see how the similarities would shake out and how one would complement the other and kind of boost the other. And they would be good sort of partners in that way. But what are some of the biggest differences between coaching your players and fathering your children? And
yeah, the biggest one is, your child, that's your heartbeat just out there on the field, right? Like that's your star. And look, like everybody's kid is the best, right? They're the best. So I think when we sign up for good teachers or coaches, we would hope that they would hold our child to account. And this is the challenge as a parent, but it's far less challenging for me as the coach. My job is to get them better. And it's often not something that they want to hear at all. But if I can be a truth sounding board in a nice, easy way that they can be receptive to, then I think we're making inroads. I think sometimes as a parent, I'd like to be that way, but sometimes I just need to love them. And then I go through stages where I should probably be showing my love to the guys more on the team. So I don't know. I think that's a really good question that I think I'm always thinking about. It's what wakes me up in the middle of the night. How do I reach so-and-so?
You said something really interesting about meeting people where they are, whether it's your child or the players. I really recognize that if I'm around someone who's got that gift. I recognize it. I don't think I was born with it. I don't think it comes naturally to me. Could you speak a little more about that and where you learned it, or did you always know it? How to do that, and maybe some examples of when you meet someone, whether it's a player or your child, where they are.
Yeah, I think I having a large empathetic. So I sort of got into coaching and then was fortunate to get this position. So I'm a head coach. I've been head coach for almost 14 years. And my first 5 years, I made so many mistakes. But what I did is I brought somebody in who basically is a psychologist, but he works with coaches, executives, leaders. And he totally nailed me up against the wall. And he was like, this is what you're not good at. And basically it was, I'm a well socialized introvert. So I was doing a lot of thinking in my head and I wasn't emoting or I wasn't spending time connecting with the guys. So I think that this is something that everyone needs to know about themselves. For me, I would get done with practice and like a turtle, I'd be pulling back into my shell by the time I was driving home. And, that was affecting my life at the house. So answering your question, I think it's like, first is, take care of yourself, really understand what allows you to be very good. Because what I do is I have to give all of myself to other people all the time. So for me, the biggest key is my rest, my sleep, my exercise. I meditate. I really need to be very present. And then I have to purposefully connect them where they are. And so for guys, sometimes that's just putting your arm around them. Or often with boys, you get to walk kind of side by side where you're walking somewhere. You get a lot more accomplished in a conversation like that. I go to class. So going to class is that's literally meeting them where they are.
Like their classes, you mean? On
Go to
campus?
class. Yeah, it's a great little tactic. But the real joy and trick here is the walking to and from class and just talking about anything but basketball. So I say for me, meeting them where they are is one, me being present. And two is, even if I have an agenda and I really want to talk to them about something, just let it happen and unfold naturally.
Do you ever think about how it can be easier to connect to your players than it can be to connect to your own kids? Just because kids automatically are like, no, Dad.
Yeah. That's such a good question. Yeah.
Last night I picked my own kid up at soccer and I was dying to talk to him and he wanted to play music. And, it was a 10, 15-minute drive home. Not a word was spoken. I'm used to it, but yes, all the time. I mean, this is also dad and mom are often not that interesting, and that time will come, I think that time will come later, when maybe we start to have some conversations. And maybe my dad passed away when I was 21 while I was a student in college. So maybe this is a little bit of why I've gotten into coaching. I love Ken Burns, the documentaries. And at one point late in his life, somebody pointed out to him, he's like, do you realize that you wake the dead? Like, you're bringing things to life, because his mom passed away when he was young. So I'm interested in the psychological part of like why your question is a very good one. Like, how can you connect with people more frequently? I also have a job where I can bring my kids to work all the time. So they get a chance to connect with the guys on the team, and they think that that's normal, but it's not. So there's some real good positives to it.
And I think that's so cool because they probably see you in a different light, which is so valuable for them and kind of your street cred with them. Like to see you be this role for 17 players that they look up to kind of shifts the dynamic a little bit, I would think, for you and them.
I mean, if you go to a practice, 2 hours of me basically talking,
but people are listening
coaching.
to you. They are listening to you and they're seeing that.
They respect you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you check with your own children, you're checking your ego at the door a lot. At least I am.
Or you're not. And that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's harder to.
That's a good point, right? Like I would ask you, like, this is how often can you hold back, or are you feeling yourself holding back? Right? I feel it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And with your players, it's with my guys, it's the same thing. I think my challenge with them all the time is, what's the right word here in this moment? Where can I be most helpful for them? And then to be consistent and treat them equally. It's a family after all. A team is a family too. And you have standards, and these are the things we stand by, and we should be talking about those things all the time. And we'll let things go a little bit up to a point, but I really try to run the program, my team, very much like a family.
But with 17 players, with I'm guessing skill sets that are foundationally the same, but like different flavors, different personalities of play, and surely you have some favorites.
Yeah. I joke, and I know this is a podcast, so people may listen, but I joke that one of my moves is I go up to the best guy on the team and I say, hey, the best player and the head coach can never have a bad day. And then I say that to like 8 guys on the team.
Okay, right. It's like everyone asks me who my favorite kid is, and I say Archie, who's our dog. Oh, you have an Archie. You have your son is Archie.
Yeah, I do. That's a really good point. Like, I'm probably, equally, I'm probably less like some of the guys on the team. And those are the real challenging and very rewarding relationships that I end up having over time, is the ones where I don't relate as well to this particular kid, but we both have to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity, of course, you want them they're in the beginning of their adulthood, you're helping them become independent humans functioning in the world. But is there ever a need to give a parent a call and bring them in on the process?
I address that right up front, especially as it regards playing time. Again, every parent wants to see their kid play. And this is, we have about 15, 17 guys, only 5 guys can play at a time. But anything related to non-basketball related issues, yes, we always call the parents, mom and dad. But I try to say to them right up front, like, you've charged me with taking care of your child, and that's what I'm going to do. And a part of that is cutting that cord a bit because you're in college and we want them to grow and to handle their problems on their own. Again, your charge is, it feels like, and again, this is going back to the first part of what we talked about. Like, I feel very deeply all the time that my charge is to help someone's kid get a lot better, and it's going to be a challenge. They're also going to school at Princeton. So this isn't an easy place to navigate.
Yeah. And sort of to all those points, let's just call you sort of their parent away from their parents. And as parents ourselves here, I'm curious as to how you deal with sort of the everyday kind of dramas that we deal with. Around
sibling rivalry.
Sibling rivalry, or a player isn't following your rules or departs from the team's code of conduct. Even something more nuanced, like you see this player who has great potential and they're just not getting there. I mean, potential is a very funny word, but like you see this player with great spark and great possibility. That's a better word. And they're kind of like not getting there on their own or not seeing it in themselves. And, something like that. How do you kind of steer without push? And these are kind of the things that we're dealing with and navigating at our level in our homes. How are you navigating those things on the court?
So it's the same level of, things we think about all the time. How do we help guide our own kids? How do I help guide the players? So I don't know if what I'm going to say is, that helpful, but it works for me. And this is what I work and think about all the time. So first is in a family, and it look like maybe there's some only children out there that you're parenting, but in a family, siblings, you often listen most to the things that your peers say. So we try to catch somebody doing something really well. And then I'll slide over to one of the captains or somebody on the team who's maybe a bit older. I'm like, hey, did you see what John did yesterday? It'd be so cool if you went up to him and said, like, that was really good what you did. Could be anything. Supporting a teammate. Often it's something that's intangible, unnoticed maybe, but very valued by me. Our 4 sort of pillars that we talk about all the time, we recruit to these are humility, discipline, and then lightheartedness and joy. So, and the last 2 really are together, but I think that they want to have fun. So we try to make it, as unworkmanlike as possible as when what we're trying to accomplish. It is a game after all. But then you mentioned, sort of these sibling rivalries or, code of conduct. This is the standard that you would hope that they would take these values with them and live them for the rest of their lives. Princeton basketball is a 4-year experience, but how you treat other people, being humble as you go forward in the things that you do, bringing joy to the situations that you're in. Let's practice those things. In my experience over time, when you are actually practicing those things, again, it starts with me, then the person you're talking about, let's say one person is just off, they rise to the level of the occasion over time.
Well, you mentioned the word humble, and it makes me curious as to whether there has been a player or more than one player that has humbled you as a coach.
Oh yeah. Often, every year, all the time.
Really? So it's sort of a composite.
And I had a great player, Tosan, who graduated 2 years ago. He's Nigerian family he was actually English. He's from Newcastle. And he had I would call him slow and steady, like Father Time. He was always kind of walking in the gym, like kind of even paced guy, really good player. We were up at Dartmouth. We were playing a game and somebody had turned the ball over and I was about to lose my mind. In the game, I was, on the verge of really disrupting the game with my own anger. And he and I can't really do it here, but he kind of just went like this to me, but like really down by his side. He's like, "Hey, it's okay." And it was almost him putting his arm around me and being like, "That's it. That's enough." But he said it very quietly and no one else saw him do it. And it was a gift that he gave me that I'll never forget. These things happen all the time. I think you have to be receiving. Often as parents or coaches, we're the ones that are thinking of how something needs to go. But if we're willing to just listen and receive something, they're showing us every second of the day what they're trying to tell us. They're showing us. You have to be able to see it. I think this is what I'm quite good at. For instance, an example would be if you just sit and you're not busy, but you sit and watch the way two siblings talk to each other or interact, and you just take a 5 minute, and same thing with teammates. You'll see a lot. You'll see a lot of they're showing each other their moods, and then you can bring it up later. I always try to like stow stuff for later, like, "Hey, why'd you do that?" Maybe a little bit of a question, like, what was going on there? What were you guys talking about? And then just listen. Then you're present with them, and they're the ones talking.
And it's so wise not to involve yourself in the moment, to save it for
Exactly.
later.
Yes. Right. That's a hard one to do. I'm sure you guys feel the same thing.
Yeah, you really have to bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Speaking of your players, Princeton is Division I, but doesn't offer athletic scholarships, like other Division I schools. So you're not necessarily getting, the best ballers stats wise, but players who are the best fit for Princeton. That said, you must be looking for things that other coaches aren't looking for. So if you could tell us what kinds of things you are looking for in your players.
It's, first is an absolute love for the game of basketball, and equally really good grades. So we cast a wide net in the recruiting process. I'm in the middle of that right now. We just search transcripts, search grades all over the country and the world. And then we want to see that they love to play. And then we can't do enough research on everything else. And everything else is essentially, what does the janitor at the school think of you?
I love that.
How do you treat other people in the school when no one's watching? What would the assistant coach say about you? Do people like playing with you? How do you treat your parents? How do you treat your mom?
Yeah.
Is a really big one.
I love that too.
And it's amazing on visits. You can see all of these things play out. You mentioned kind of the level of kid. I mean, we get a really high level of kid. It's a high performing kid. And sometimes that often comes with anxiety or they're quiet. They don't want to be exposed. This imposter syndrome is real at all levels, right? So we're watching just, sometimes, and you can make mistakes. Like I remember Coach Carrill, who recruited me here to Princeton, I said to him, it was one of my very first recruits. I said, he didn't have he said, "What'd you think of that kid?" And I said, he didn't shake my hand and look me in the eye. Like, I don't know, coach, I was sort of just talking to him. And he was immediately a little upset at me. He goes, maybe no one's ever told him that that's important.
Yes.
And it blew me away. And I take that with me all the time. Like, again, just observing what families value is probably more important than maybe how the kid is behaving, because there can be a lot going on when you meet somebody and you're trying to make a decision on those kids. But the humility piece is a non-negotiable for us. Excuse me, because that often translates into, you see the greater in other people, not just yourself.
Mitch, being in this game for as long as you've been in this game as a player, as a coach, we're spanning decades, right? How 30 years?
25, 26.
26 years, so almost 30. You have observed the characteristics of many generations, seen a lot of cultural shifts, a lot of shifts in technology, like the smartphone, for example, social media. Share with us, if you could, some of your insights into the current generation or Generation Z, Gen Z, and how they're different and how you reach them and how you bond with them and motivate them in this age of, connection in the name of, disconnection in the name of connection, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
like, everyone's, the bus rides must be a little different than they used to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, how do players connect with each other? How do you connect with them? How do you use this technology have you figured out a way to use this technology, to your end goal? Or is it competing?
And that's just a terrific question. And when you mentioned this generation, I immediately thought of the bus. And it's so funny you mentioned the bus because, sometimes I'll be like, when I was your age, guys, we would play cards in the back of the bus. And then I go back up to my seat in the front of the bus and I'm like,
right.
On my phone.
It's us too.
And so we got this computer sitting in our pockets and the bus rides aren't the same. There's some positives to it. You mentioned the different generations. When I first started coaching at Princeton, those kids were born in 95, 94, 95. And now these essentially kids are all that we're recruiting are all born at the sort of advent of the iPhone. So 06, 07, right? So the question I get most often asked from people that are leaders or coaching or at any levels, how do you manage this generation? This is exactly like this current generation right now. And I would say it's a real challenge all the time. They want instant feedback, but they also want it the way that they want to receive it. And a student said once here on campus, and this really resonated with you, like, you can't judge another person until you've walked in their own shoes, right? Like, but the student said, you have to take your shoes off first.
Nah.
Like, so this is this generation. Like you gotta check all your stuff at the gate. And then before you come in and start talking to me, you've got to be here just for me. I think that time spent is the only path forward in this current thing. They're not going to respond to a quarterly 4 times checking in with somebody. It's hundreds, and I have hundreds of hours of conversations with these guys, and you have to be willing to do that. And so, to me, that's the response, and I fail at it all the time. But I think also I'm playfully ignorant of, like, I try to make fun of all the things I don't know, which is so much. Whatever the new lingo is, I make fun of myself all the time.
The brain rot, yeah.
Music, yeah, exactly. But also just smile a lot and just tell me about what's going on. Like, oh my gosh, that must have been fun.
Do you even get tapes anymore, or is it all following Instagram accounts?
Yeah, it's a lot of Twitter, a lot of Instagram accounts, and then we have what's called Huddle, HUDL, which is a way to upload your games onto onto the internet, and Huddle then spits that out into a game format. We watch so much video through that. Instagram's great, but also you're making every shot. You look like
it's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a big thing now too, right? It's like some of these guys have a lot of followers, and they've got a handle, and they've got, we do look at that in the recruiting process.
You do.
Just to see what people are saying, what they're posting.
But don't you feel like that can all be curated and airbrushed?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. And as much as kids are talked to about what to put on their social stuff, they still make mistakes. Not that we're looking for those, but
like drunken photos and indiscreet stuff,
or like something untowards, or it's not appropriate, or. But I think more importantly is that's not always a reflection of somebody. That's just a snapshot of things in time, but everybody's watching
at all times.
So you have a profile out there, and we talk to our guys about this all the time. Like, and with that comes, you're talking about, so this is a small thing, but gambling is now prevalent everywhere. And so our guys hear it, they can get hate through Instagram, hate through, spread to them through Twitter, like their direct messages. So we have to help them manage that. in their lives. Because they're public, right? They're out there.
Right.
They're putting themselves on the line.
They become public figures.
Yes.
Your job got complicated.
Yeah. All right. Can we turn our attention a little bit from the basketball court to the home court?
Yes.
Okay. You're head coach on the basketball court. You know my next question. Are you also head coach at home? Are you and your wife more of equal partners parenting? Do you let her take the lead?
Another great question. I'm very lucky. Like my wife is so much smarter than I am. She's so amazing. She takes the lead on pretty much everything. She's a television commercial producer, has a career. She's often in New York City. We really like to co-parent. We also know like there's challenges all the time. Again, just the other day, we were both trying to have maybe a good cop, bad cop conversation with one of our kids. And we were both reluctant to take the bad cop role. So, I think we're figuring it out as we go, but I feel very fortunate to have somebody that is a rock star in her own life. And it's not easy to be married to a coach, to live that life out publicly, to sit in the stands and watch your husband's team not play well when you're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So she's very tolerant of what I'm doing, and I'm very lucky in that sense.
Do you ever disagree on how to handle different things that come up with your kids?
Very much, all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it would be subtle, but it's also, I find, I'm like A to B to C to D type person. I like things in that sense. My wife goes A to M. She's like, okay, well, this is what we can do. Just do it this way. And she's almost always right. But I need to know the steps in which you kind of arrived at that point. She just kind of knows. And so this is a little bit, I answered that question a little bit because if it's me, like I like to, I'm orderly. I want to know kind of what's the process here. Let's not skip any steps. So I'm learning from her all the time. And I think she's cool. And I'm not that I'm not, but I again, like I'm a little bit more on the serious side. So I think that it's a really good compliment, I think, for one another. So, I also just think, we've now gotten to a point where having a little conference among ourselves, like that alone time when the kids get on the bus or when they leave, like that is like the most invaluable 15 minutes we have during the day. It's just that little, like, let's put our brains together here for a second. Now, how are we doing? How are they doing?
Yeah, connect in whatever way. I totally agree. My husband and I haven't been doing it enough. And it doesn't have to be, I agree, like a big, long thing, just a moment of connection, so you're in it together.
It's coffee. It's, maybe, we try to just set the devices down, try to make a little eye contact and be like, okay, what's going on here? And then dinner, man, oh gosh, we talk all the time trying to get more, just do more frequent dinners, just her and I.
Are you home for dinners a lot or not very much?
Not during the season as much, but we make that a huge priority to make sure that we're there together. We love the family dinner. But, you guys know, like you're running around all over the place often. And I think we get that time when we can get it. We cherish it when it happens.
I think it's just a matter of recognizing when it's here. It's like, oh no, this is it. Okay, wait, we have 5 minutes. Okay, and being intentional and like, okay, this is our time. Like it doesn't always appear like on the calendar or
as like a special date night.
Special date night, or even just like a defined window of time that is agreed upon beforehand. It's like, oh wait, here it is. It's almost like you're stealing. Like I miss the days of working, I don't know if I should even say this out loud, but of like working for someone else and like stealing company time. That, like I'm stealing company time now, and it's like I'm either stealing from myself or I'm stealing from my kids. It's like no one wins. But I want to go back to something you said earlier about being an extrovert, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's talking about it now. This is my big question. No, but you are an extrovert. So
I'm an introvert.
I'm sorry. No. Right? That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Correct. That's what I meant. Yeah. You're an introvert. And what I was going to say for our listeners who are not familiar with extrovert, introvert, that, extroverts get their energy and recharge their battery by being around other people. Introverts lose energy, like get energy drained by being around other people, and charge their batteries not by being around other people.
Yes.
And so it's interesting to me that you have built a career that is in complete conflict with this personality.
Yeah.
And this like battery charging system. You have a career that requires you to be around not just like, 5 people, but like a ton of people all the time, talking to a ton of people all the time. When you're not with those players, you like you said, you're either talking to other coaches or deans or faculty or parents. And then you go home and you don't just have a dog or one child or one wife. Well, you do have one wife, but
as far as we know,
as far as you know, but you have 3 children. And so how did this happen? Are you glutton for punishment? Are you a self-saboteur? It's clear that you're an excellent coach. I have a hunch just from listening to you and spending a little bit of time with you that you're a darn good dad. How and when do you, like, get specific, refill your tank so that you're showing up strongly as you are showing up in both these roles? And how do you just like maintain that stamina? I guess it's kind of the same question, to bring that coach energy that's on the court home. Like, do you run out of that? Do you run out of gas? Are you like, do you come home and just like park it on the couch and have Mitch time, or what? Or are you like stopping on the way home and meditating? What's going on?
Really, really good. Glutton for punishment. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to that guy that I brought in around for me 2015 that told me, like, this is who you are. You're very internal. This is how you're processing things. And your staff, he told me, doesn't know what you're thinking. And so that was that was very helpful for me, because in my mind, I was being perfectly clear, and I was communicating it all directly, but I was keeping it internally. So I've learned with my, to take these areas that drain me and to really make sure that I'm prepared for them. So if one is, like, let's say a staff meeting, if I'm having my own staff and I'm meeting with my staff together, like I've given everybody prompts in advance. Because a 2-hour long staff meeting, like, I got to go take a nap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, but like a 45-minute long staff meeting is essential to what we're trying to do on a day-to-day basis. Or even, honestly, hours we're talking about schemes and whatever we're trying to do on the court. But if I can give people prompts in advance, that helps other people. So that's important. I have found meditation. I do what's called like a version called TM, and it's changed my life. So it just gives me the space in my own head to calm down. I do that twice a day, and I find a little place literally on the side of the gym before practice starts at 4:45. So 4:45 is a very late time of the day for me, and I'm very much of a morning person. So I'm ramped up. I'm ready to go all day, and then the afternoon comes around, and my energy levels are going down. And that's when I have to be at my absolute best, because that's when practice is. That's when I'm seeing the team. And so that afternoon meditation for me is crucial. When I miss it, it always affects me. I'm a little bit more irritable.
Even just once, like, you can see the difference.
Yeah, but I do miss them. But that really is crucial. And that just gives me the activity, the ability to do more things and have the energy to do so for the rest of the day. The most important thing for me is the drive home. My commute's short, 5 minutes, but I sort of take that, whatever's on top of my head and just put it on the bush right outside the door, imaginary bush. So I started taking a little hat off, and I try to walk into that. And at this point, I feel great. But it wasn't always that way. I was just exhausted at the end of the day. And man, the kids are just amazing right now. We have a 7-year-old whose brain is like firing on all cylinders. So walking in the door after a loss in particular, I tend to be incredibly down in the dumps. And just trying to put everything in perspective, and it's just a game. I'll replay this for myself when we lose a game next year to make sure that I'm listening. I'm actually trying
the whole
to do
podcast.
yeah, exactly.
I'm so honored.
But I am, you'd be surprised, or at least I am surprised how many how many introverts there are in my profession, and the leaders and business people that I've met that are actually like, they're drained, because they sort of got to this point by kind of thinking a lot and working really hard, but like you don't always work on the extrovert part of you that's very much of a necessity. I would say like I'm far better now at being an extrovert than I was 5 years ago. And I think you can improve at it. And I've worked at that. And mostly it's exercise, sleep, and the meditation for me.
We've touched on this a little bit throughout our conversation, but when you think about obstacles, challenges that you faced as a coach and a dad, anything you wish that you'd handled differently? Can you draw parallels between challenges that you've had both at work and at home?
Yeah. So every day, I think that the biggest challenge I have as a father or as a dad is to just be as present as possible. I think I sometimes I catch myself talking to my food or staring at my food, like, or just not what, maybe it's not the food, but just staring off in the distance. And the 7-year-old's like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "Oh man, like that's just this awesome moment of like, hey dad, be present." And then the same thing, on the floor. So the parallel for me is, um, my biggest challenge, some of my biggest challenges are when a player has done something that I really disagree with, or I want to address it. Maybe he didn't play hard, or had a bad game, and I want to kind of like get right in there and be like, what is going on? And maybe I'm really like showing my emotion. And right before I say it, this actually happened to me too. And you asked about lessons I've learned from the players. The player said to me, he goes, "You were on edge yesterday." Uh, and that's a bit of this generation, but
Gen Z.
yes.
I know, it's so
but
true. We never would have said that to, our generation wouldn't have said that to a coach.
I want to put him in a headlock and be like, "What did you say?" But he's right. And I think that that's the lesson is, we don't want to, even with our own children, when they're talking to us, are they right? Is there some part of what they're talking about that's right? And I don't, and I want to be careful here. Like, I do think, and I do believe in I'm the parent, you're the child, I'm the coach, you're the player. Like, I do believe in that. But when it's at its best, we're in it together and we're facing forward together when it's at its best. When my team is playing really, really well, they're not thinking. When the family's having a lot of fun, it's not structured. I think when we're having a blast and the love is just there, maybe it's a board game or dinner and it's not purposeful. It's more just, we're just there and we're having a good time. I like to think of it that way.
Okay. I want to go to sports, which we've been talking about, but specifically who you were as an athlete and who your kids are as athletes, if they are athletes. You have incredible success and stats as a coach. You are also an incredible and very decorated, celebrated athlete. You went to Culver Military Institute in Indiana, which I want to come back to because that's also very interesting to me. You were a 12-time letter winner there, competing in 3 sports: football, basketball, baseball. You were drafted by the New York Yankees for baseball even before you went to Princeton for basketball.
That is wild.
As an outfielder. So that's crazy. And then you were a 4-year starter on the Princeton basketball team, obviously. 2-year All-Ivy, helped the team helped them get to the NCAA. Blah, blah, blah. Let me do that again. Helped lead the team to the NCAA wins in 96 and 98. And where I'm going with all this. Oh, and then, sorry, I missed one. You were signed by the Atlanta Hawks basketball, another professional situation that, and then you played professional basketball in Ireland. So I have to ask you, do your Theo, Archie, and Pippa,
great names, by the way,
which are great names, do
Thank
they
you.
play sports?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's embarrassing for me to hear you talk about all
I know,
this.
I can tell that you weren't into that resume recitation.
Thing about his orange is that shirt.
They do. And I'll give you my, I don't talk about this much. So I'll give you my viewpoint on being a parent of kids that are playing sports. So this is just my take on it. And of course, my take is influenced by, I'm a coach, but I don't get involved at all. If they want to talk to me about what they want to talk about, my son, I told you maybe earlier, he wants nothing to do. I'm a college basketball Division I head coach. He plays basketball, loves all different sports. I couldn't tell you. He hasn't listened to a thing I've said about hoops. And that's just fine. I'd rather have a relationship with all of them that's just loving and we can do whatever they like to do. I was obsessed with sports as a child. My teachers used to ask my parents if I ever smiled when I was at home. I was really focused. I was just like, I'm going to bend the world. That was my thought. So my kids are not like this or like that. And honestly, it's okay by me. I mean, I think often about like, if I don't know, you guys ever think if you could have another life, what would you do differently?
Yes.
I love the idea of not being involved in sports at all. I love that idea. Like, it's a big part of my life. I watch sports pretty much every night and the kids love it too. Right now, my two boys are super into Formula One racing. So we're watching like practice sessions and we're always into that. And my daughter's got all kinds of interesting things she does with her friends. Soccer, and she does a lot of stuff through the school. I just, whatever they want to do, I'm all in it. Here's what I always tell parents, ask me sometimes, like, when should we start specializing or, and you didn't ask me this, but like,
no, but I want to know
relative. Yeah. And I just think I see so many parents that have robbed their children unknowingly of a joy for doing something. So it's just, to me, it's about like, when the rubber hits the road at some point, they have to like what they're doing and they have to find what's good for them. This is also true of how you choose a major, a partner in life. Like, I don't know if we should be that involved, but I think that they should know we have our full support as a parent. So now I like you mentioned the Yankees, like I threw out the first pitch at a Yankee game 2 years ago and I bounced it and my kids were there. So I have had these incredible experiences through sport that my family has gotten to enjoy. So I also would say that sports provide an incredible, I mean, obviously I'm a coach, but like what values you can learn from being on a team. I love that. And I want the kids to play as many team sports as possible. I absolutely love it.
But it's about the process of that versus.
Yes.
The life lessons you get just from being on the team that have nothing to do with athletic skill.
Exactly. Failure. At the soccer game, probably your listeners or you guys know, like everybody's right there on the field. All the parents are sitting together. Everybody's talking to their kid the whole time. I sit as far away from possible. I don't always watch the game. I'm not that interested. I want to make sure they're having a good time. I love Cal Ripken. He was this baseball player for the Orioles. He said the most important thing you can do is to make sure the drinks are cold after the game. And I also love, like, so in Germany, like in certain countries in the world, like your parents aren't allowed to talk during games. So I don't know. I'm a believer in like they need to figure it out on their own. And I also love that there's another person, the coach, that's in their life that is giving them some lessons, and they can pull from that person. They don't need my input.
The third party. Yeah.
No way.
Do you have just like maybe 2 more minutes for a lightning round?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to start us off.
Yeah, do it.
All right. Before a big game, you fill in the blank.
I take a nap, like a short nap, and then I meditate.
When your kids are asleep, you.
Now I'm right behind them. I'm reading, and then I like to be in bed right after they go to bed.
Yeah. You're not a TV guy?
No, not at night. During the season, I'm watching video, but I go to bed early. I like to be in bed.
Hardest thing you've ever had to say to your child?
Oh, wow.
It's kind of heavy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a really good one. I think a specific instance would be our oldest telling him he has to go do something that he doesn't want to do, which was a very difficult situation for him to handle. But I like to think about that one. That's a good one.
What about the hardest thing you've ever had to say to a player?
Yeah, we're going in a different direction. You're no longer on the team. That one is really rough.
Yeah,
really
that must
rough.
be heartbreaking.
Is that a decision you have to make every year? You have to reevaluate every year? Or?
No, it happens, it happens rarely, but it does happen. And it's heartbreaking because you are instantly the worst person on the planet, and they're shooting knives out of their eyes.
What's the thing that you're most vigilant about as a parent?
Their manners, the kids' manners, and how they treat other people.
What about the thing you're laziest about as a parent?
That's a good one too. Probably, I'm mad at myself, but I don't read to them enough. I'm lazy about it. We fool around a little bit too much at night, but I'm lazy about that.
That was awesome. Mitch, you're such an interesting guy. And I really thank you for coming on.
That's nice of you to say.
I enjoyed this conversation so much. I think that your team is so lucky to have you in their lives.
Tell them that?
Your home team and your school team.
Exactly.
I appreciate that. These conversations, what you guys are doing is so cool. I've listened to a couple of your episodes, and it's what you're doing is you're providing a platform for us to talk, but also no one's alone in this, and we don't have it figured out. That's what I like about what you guys are doing. You're trying to learn and help other people by just learning. So I'm all about it. Super cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Take care, and I hope to see you this summer at some point.
You will.
Maybe a pickup. All right.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
I think that in the world of parenting and sports, people have all different opinions about the kind of coach who they want to coach their kids. I'm feeling that more and more. Like everyone has different opinions about like what makes a good coach to their kids. Like my choice is Mitch.
Yeah.
Like, can he just coach the level children, all the sports, all the time? I love his wisdom. Anyway, over to you.
Yes, all of that. I feel like with all of our shows, the ones that I find to just be like the most special ones are the ones that surprise us. And I felt very surprised by this one. Like I knew that I would learn a lot about, interesting things about like the parallels between coaching and parenting but I didn't anticipate like how much I would take away and apply to like myself as a parent, but also like as a human and a parent. And I was just like very inspiring.
He was surprising in how open and vulnerable he was.
Yeah. So one like very practical thing that I'm taking away and applying to my life is meditation. I don't know about you, but in recent history for me, like 3-4 years, whenever I've started paying attention to this, every like impressive person that I've seen on a stage or in a conversation or, and someone I'm just like impressed with. Like we just saw Hoda Kotb at Bronxville School, and inevitably it comes up that they meditate like twice a day.
Yeah, you're right.
Like you're like, how did you do that? And they're like, I meditate. So I actually ended up seeing Mitch at the end of the summer. I ran into him and I said, listen, I really want to talk to you more about this. Like this, I found it really fascinating. My favorite part of the conversation was when you were talking about meditation. Like, how did you find it? Like, I want to know literally, like, was it an app on your phone? Like which person do you like the most? Like which app do you like the most? He's like, I tried all that and none of it worked for me. And I literally just Googled transcendental meditation. And there was, a site or a center in Princeton, New Jersey. And he's like, I did it. And so it's like this other thing. It's like a specific kind of meditation.
Yeah.
And
I just heard Jennifer Aniston talking to Dax Shepard about this.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
So it's like a real curriculum, I don't want to say like
spiritual element, right?
Very spiritual. I don't mean to say that it's a curriculum, like a thing that like a 12 pack, like a 12 class, maybe, but it's more like a system and a program and a community, I think. And you have like I think there are mentors. I don't know that much about it, but I did, as soon as I had this conversation with him, I did Google Transcendental Meditation, Bronxville, New York. And there is a center in Scarsdale, and I'm going.
You are?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely, it's like, by going, it's on my to-do list. But
yeah,
it's like one of these loop things, right? It's like, I definitely am going to do it. And it just every single day, like, is crazier and crazier than the one before. And it's like, that's the reason I need to do it. But I can't get it onto the on-ramp, but I swear to you, I will. Yeah. I just, I'm going to find the moment and I'm going to do it, because apparently it's like having this, like, it's like a third eye. It's like a superpower, he said.
I agree. It keeps coming up.
It really does.
In conversation.
Kind of like, I want what he's having, you know?
100%.
Like, yeah. So anyways, what is another thing I loved about this conversation is this idea of, I love talking about this and exploring this myself, of control and connection, and how they can like really hang out together.
Yeah.
And seem like they're, working towards the same end, but actually like it's almost like sibling rivalry, like.
Wait, say more. I'm not sure I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, so remember, so he's like, I used to think that leadership was about control, and now I know it's about connection.
Oh, yeah. And so much that is so true of parenting.
Yes. And but like so much of the things that we do that are in the control category are about care. Like it stems from care. Like,
of course it does. Right. Our heart's in the right place.
Well, sometimes it's like, I want you to comb your hair a certain way because I think it looks like crap. That's like about you.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, you need to study a certain amount. So you're prepared for that test.
Right. Or you need to take that instrument.
Or
take part in that sport.
Do your homework, and it's all that slippery slope of like, scaffolding and direction, scaffolding, direction, but control. I think so much of it is like, I want to protect you. I want to protect you. I don't want you to fail. So I want to,
or I want you to achieve the most that you can in life.
Or I want, that's a good one. Put the potential. I have that in my notes too, by the way. Yes. And then, but it's like, almost like, the control, it comes like, we want to control because we are so connected. And it's like the toxic connection. It's like, you're so tangled up that you don't know what is for them and what is for you. It's like, you're so connected,
right?
But it's not actual, like
true connection.
Like control is actually like the enemy of connection, which is fast. I always think that's like mind blowing when you realize that. But the potential thing is also so important because
it keeps coming up on different topics.
It really does, with different guests on different topics. And it's like, we think of potential as this really positive thing, as like, I see you and I see your potential, but by actually seeing someone's potential, you're not actually seeing them. Right.
Right.
Remember
who's to say what their potential is?
Well, it's like what he says, like, you're not meeting, like, he's like, it's so important to meet, like, whether it's his kids or his players, like, meet them where they are. And potential is kind of the opposite of that. It's like, I see grains of what could be, which is like a kind of a future maybe version of yourself. And because I know that that's possible, I want you to be that. And I want to give you all the things so that you're that. as opposed to like, okay, this is where you are. Like if you just meet everyone where there is, like potential is sort of irrelevant. It's like it's like a moot point.
Yeah, it's very complicated. It's like everything that you're saying is true to me, but I also do find myself in a lot of moments with my kids just feeling like they're going to regret me not pointing out a higher level of achievement that they're choosing not to.
Well, they're in the trees. They're at tree level, and you're seeing you have more perspective from you're seeing more of the forest.
Right.
And it's
because
like,
I have old enough kids that I've already reached different points with them where they've said to me like, oh, they've expressed regret to me about not taking a certain road or trying harder in whatever area.
Okay. Now I'm going to pose to you this.
Yeah.
Isn't that very regret valuable?
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I regret that you didn't do this. Okay.
Cool. Now you know.
Now you know. Right?
Next time something like that comes up.
Like, I would say that that's the actual, like, you win because they have regret.
Right.
Not you lose because they have regret.
So I won.
So you won.
Thank you.
High five. All right. That's a wrap.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Listening.
However, you are here. Thank you. And we'll see you next week. Bare Nakeds.